All right, so we took those arrows and all those cells and all those shapes and we've cut them out and we arranged them in the cell cycle. And then this is the order that you should hopefully have gotten them after you tried on your own. And now that you have these attached, let's go through and add some major events or key processes that happen. So what we do is we start with a single cell. We start with a single cell, and I'm going to kind of change colors along the way, just to help differentiate. We start with a single cell, and it goes through G1. What is the major event that happens during G1? The cell grows. Okay, G generically represents growth. The cell grows during G phases. Not always, but kind of that's a common thing. So during G1, the cell grows. Now, if you're not talking, would be greatly appreciated, because that's rude and inconsiderate if you're talking. So during G1, the cell grows, and that's what our image shows. From here's this cell to this cell, it physically gets larger. S stands for synthesis. And when we synthesize things, we make or we put together, but specifically what is made or what is replicated or what is copied, right? The DNA is copied. During S phase, the DNA is copied. So I use black pen, but that's the difference between uncopied versus copied. With the X's, I asked to not talk in the back while I'm talking, because that's rude. We had that, I had said that, but maybe you were talking when I said that, so you didn't realize that I said that. Okay, we're good now. Thank you. So we have the DNA is copied during S phase. That's the big thing. During G2, G represents what? Growth, right? So it grows a little bit more. I'd say most of the growth occurs actually during G1, but the cell grows again. And then kind of generically we say it prepares to divide. Okay? So it's preparing to divide. G1, the cell grows. S phase, the DNA is copied. During G2, it grows a little bit more, and it prepares for division. We'll talk about tomorrow that G2, we also get some organelle replication that happens. And then finally, during M phase, the cell divides. That's too dark. Dark enough. So the cell divides. I don't know if that's any better. The cell divides into two identical cells. I'll hit focus, which will take a moment. Alright, so during M phase, the cell divides into two identical cells. During G2, the cell grows and prepares to divide. During S phase, the cell DNA is copied. And then the last thing that we haven't labeled so far is G0. Okay, so G0 is, I'll go back to purple. G0 is a resting phase, is what we call it. Some cells go into G0 and stay there forever. Some cells go to G0 to come back in. Yesterday in your activity, it asked you to draw an arrow coming out of G1 and then going to G0 and coming back in, because sometimes they can re-enter. like your liver cells. If you damage liver cells, they can repair and replace the damaged cell. You can donate a part of a liver, and yours will regrow, and the donated portion will regrow into a liver. But some cells go into G0 and they never come back out. And that's what they were talking about in your activity yesterday, that they talked about like nerve cells. So if you get spinal cord damage or brain damage, generally that's irreversible because it's in G0. We can't enter back in to fix and repair those. So that's why we got to be pretty careful with those things and why they're pretty concerned about spinal and brain injuries. Some organisms, you can chop them in half and they'll grow two separate parts back. So some things can come back and some can't. Sometimes things go to G0 during a checkpoint because they say, hey, something's not right. And then they say, well, this isn't right. We got to get rid of this and destroy it. And they go to apoptosis, which is where they like break down those cells. Okay? So this is something for you to hang on to and use as a reference. Notice how all your materials were put back from the containers that you picked them up, so please do that. If you didn't get all your scraps picked up, the blue recycling bin is right over there by that sink for you to put in.